What is up, everybody? Today we will be doing my conference predictions for every conference. Power 5. I don't do non-Power 5. I don't even watch those games, if I'm being honest, unless it's like Tulane or something. So yeah, these are my conference predictions for every Power 5 conference, all 5 of them. Got the standings and then the championship games with the scores. So here we go. First one, the greatest conference of all time, the SEC. And while making this, I realized how really good the SEC West is. And how they pretty much have a lot of the weight from the SEC, because those last couple East teams are they're not so awesome. But here we go. Alabama at 1 in the West. Then you got LSU 2, Ole Miss 3, Auburn 4, A&M 5, Arkansas 6, Mississippi State 7. I don't know what the hype is with the LSU Tigers. Alabama will definitely beat them this year. And Alabama will beat Tennessee twice. So, yeah. Next in the East, we have, this is one of my biggest hot takes of the year. Tennessee loses to Alabama in the regular season, but beats Georgia. So they each have one SEC loss, and since Georgia's was to Tennessee, Tennessee's in, Georgia's out. I still have Georgia making the playoffs, but I still have them missing the SEC title game. So I got Tennessee 1, Georgia 2, South Carolina 3, Florida 4, Kentucky 5, Missouri 6, and Vandy 7 for the SEC. Then in the championship, I have Bama beating Tennessee 42-17. Moving on here to the Big Ten. And yeah, another hot take right there. Ohio State, I think, can possibly lose to Michigan and Penn State. I think that will actually happen, and Ryan Day will not. This will be Ryan Day's last year at Ohio State. They will miss out on the playoffs and the Big Ten championship with losses to Michigan and Penn State. Michigan, I have them running the table, beating every team they play. Penn State, I have their only loss being to Michigan, so they're there at 11-1. Ohio State, I have them losing to Michigan and Penn State 10-2. And then you got Maryland, Michigan State, Rutgers, and then Indiana. Indiana might be the worst Power 5 team this year, out of all of them. Worse than Cincy, worse than Houston. They're going to be pretty terrible. Next is Wisconsin. I have them with one loss on the whole year, and that loss will be to Ohio State. And then you got Minnesota, Purdue, Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, and then Northwestern. And then the Big Ten Conference Championship, I have Michigan beating Wisconsin 24-28. Moving on to the Pac-12 here, and this is not sides. As you saw here, we have 1 through 7 on both, and then here you also have 1 through 7 on both. The Pac-12 and the Big 12 don't do it like that. The ACC does. You'll see in a sec. But for these, it's just 1 through 12. The top 2 teams make it. So, yeah. SC, I have them running the table 12-0 and then winning. So 13-0 headed into the playoffs. Washington, I think I have them at it's either 1 or 2 losses. It's for Washington in conference, because they could lose to Boise or Michigan State, but in conference, I have them at 1, maybe 2 losses, and the only loss that I see them having right today is to USC in the regular season, and I have them losing to them again in the Pac-12 championship. So then you got Oregon and Utah. You got UCLA. You got some Arizona State. They got a lot of good transfers. They got a good quarterback as well. Gearing up for the last season in the Pac-12 as well. Then you got Oregon State, Arizona, Colorado, Stanford, Wazoo, and then Cal. Then I got SC beating Washington in the championship 49-42. Next conference here we have the Big 12, and as much as it pains me to say, I think Texas will win the Big 12 this year. They will win their final Big 12 championship ever this season. Unfortunately. Because if you know, when it comes to hating Texas, I'm right up there with the number 1 haters. I ain't even gonna lie. But yeah. So I got Kansas State at 1, Texas 2, OK State at 3, OU 4, TCU 5, Texas Tech 6, UCF 7, Baylor 8, Kansas 9, West Virginia 10, Iowa State 11, BYU, Cincy, and then Houston rounding it off, the newcomers to the Big 12. For Kansas State, I have them at 0 conference losses going into it. I only have them. I think I have them undefeated going into this Big 12 title game. Then the playoff hopes will get squashed by Texas. They will beat Texas in the regular season, and then a Texas team that came off a tough loss at Bama will come in and win that game. So an 11-1 Texas team will beat a 12-0 Kansas State team in the Big 12 championship, 38-35. Then the final conference for today, forever, because I'm not doing for Group of 6 or whatever you call that. BS, doesn't even matter. You got the ACC. The Clemson Tigers will come into this game with 2 losses. It's just the cold heart, or with 1 loss, sorry. And that will be 1 loss to South Carolina. And what's crazy about it is the same thing is going to go for UNC, except they will have 1 more loss, which will be to Clemson. So, UNC 10-2, Clemson 11-1. Both of them losing to South Carolina. And then you got the Cinnamon Rolls. The Cinnamon Rolls are terrible, awful, and stinky. So, pretty overhyped again. Their season will fall apart when they lose to LSU by 30 in the first game. Then they'll lose to Clemson in week 4. And then I have them with 1 more upset loss in there. I don't know to who, but 1 more upset loss for the old Cinnamon Rolls. For Syracuse, I have them at 2 losses because I have the upset loss to Florida State. For Florida State to Syracuse. Syracuse on Saturday the 30th, Saturday the 7th, and then Saturday October 14th. They play again. They play at home against Clemson, then at Chapel Hill, and then at Florida State. So that's tough, but I think they can. They'll lose 2 of those games, but they will win 1. So yeah. Then you go NC State, Wake, Louisville, Boston College. We already went over UNC, Duke, Miami, whatever. Georgia Tech sucks. Once you get out of these top 2, these teams just suck for the ACC, naming a lot. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you have a good one. Peace.